Into the second round of games we go now, over in Group B with each and every one of the nations on a singular point, that's right, which means we're all square heading into match number 2, who will take full advantage between the Swiss and the Bosnians. We're going to get into it, all of it, next. That's right, folks, back once again with another video. Today we take a look at match number 2, that's right, in a very, very even bloody Steven Group B, that's right, who of course will take full advantage between the Swiss and the Bosnians. We'll get into all of it in just 1 second. If you know where you've been, smash your subscribe. You must have for Blackburn Rovers. World Cup predictions, that's right, we're going to all hear under one Ruski, that's right. I think the Swiss feel that point as a defeat, that's right, as they slipped up the last gasp saloon. Bosnia on the flip side, yeah, a good solid point against the Canadians, but it still looks very, very tricky for both of these two nations to get through to those last round of 32. We'll get into all of that in a minute. Big shout out to my members of the patrons. You know who you are. And again, if you're new, smash your subscribe. We're trying to get 48 likes, remember. Each and every one of the likes for each and every one of the nations at this World Cup. So please, 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 please do us a favour and smash that like. We are here to talk about this, though, on 18th of June. The Swiss up against the Bosnians, that's right, over in Group B. Both nations on 1 point. Both nations coming into unbeaten the last 4 matches in all shapes and all sizes. They're on 40% form, though, the Swiss, compared to the Bosnians on 60% form. Wins are a rarity between these two sides. 3 draws in a row against the Swiss, who got 3 draws out of 4 games as well. But let's take a look at how we got to this stage. With, of course, the Swiss, that's right, coming at you as UEFA B, Group B winners, securing the spot on the 18th of November 2025. They've been here 13 times in the past, the last in 2022. They're currently on a run of 6 successive tournaments, with the best being the quarterfinals in 1934 and 1938, as well as 1954. Goodness gracious me, Murat Yakin is the manager there. Of course, Granit Xhaka, the Capitano. Brilin Bolo, like I said, the VIP, he's up and running with a goal. The start of the tournament, you can get odds of 80-1 for the Swiss to win out this competition. My expectation before we kicked the ball was around a 16, that's right. But right now, got more questions than answers I have for the Swiss. Let's take a look at the personnel then for this Swiss nation. We've got the likes of Kobo between the sticks, Jan von Mambolgo at the back there as well, maybe compete for the jersey. I've got Nico Elverde as well, Sylvain Woodmere. We've got Miro Muheim as well at the back. Gibril So, familiar name. Remo Fuller as well on the books of Bologna. Brilin Bolo now on the books of Rennes, leading the charge with Noah Okafor on Leeds United's boys and girls as well. Now let's take a look at the starting 11 we could expect to see this coming match day, with Kobo between the sticks, Rodriguez, Akanji, Elverde, and Midman making up a back four. We've got Frula, Xhaka, Aibaisha, Fargas, and Bola and Doi. Now each and every one of these positions does have a backup, an understudy if you like. So maybe if you don't like Xhaka in the midfield, which of course you should do, you've got Shakira there who could come in and fill the void. But likely to go with something along these lines. Meanwhile, standing in the way, though, is, of course, Bosnia and Herzegovina coming at you as UEFA Playoff Pathway A winners, securing the spot on the 31st of March 2026. They've been here twice in the past, last in 2014. They're on a streak of just the 1, which they never made it out of the groups back in their one and only instance of the World Cup. Sergio Barbadas is your manager. The Capitano being Edin Dzeko. We haven't seen a minute of him yet, of course, and he is also the VRP. They are ranked 65th according to FIFA rankings right now. And they've got odds at the start of the competition, 250-1 to go the distance. And they're on the round of 32 was my expectations. And right now, looking at this, you know, I don't know. I don't know about the Bosnians. But I actually, tell a lie, I actually feel quite confident. I think getting that point against Canada was, yes, maybe not the grand result that they were looking for, but to get a point off the hosts in their own backyard is solid. It's all about the Qatar match. And that, seeing as their opposition here today, the Swiss tripped up a little bit against the Qataris. Maybe if they can get a point here, it all comes down to that last game, and they could still end up winning this group. But if they're going to win the group, they have to turn to these guys, of course, with the likes of Niko Vacic at the back there. We've got Sead Kolasinac, ex-Arsenal man, now in the books of Atalanta. We've got Armand Didic as well from Benfica, as well as Tariq Mihomovic from Sassuolo. Meanwhile, into midfield, the likes of Hamazovic on the books of Hull City, now in the Premier League, and then Denzel Buric of Karlsruhe. Ivan Besic is in there, as well as Ismail Baratovic, who, of course, is the hot prodigy on the books of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Up top, Zeko, you haven't seen him yet. Demirovic, of course. Hadas Tekabavic as well from the books of Borussia Mönchengladbach. That's, of course, some of the key personnel. But what about starting 11? Well, I've gone something like this with a 4-4-2 here. Vasilj between the sticks, Mazimovic on the left-hand side, Katic, Mujakovic, Dedic, Alabovic on the left-hand side. We've got Brakatovic on the right-hand side, Memic and Taharovic in the middle. Can we see Zeko start alongside Demirovic? I don't know if this is the game to do that, but we'll see. See what the Bosnians could do in this game with a lot still riding on this. Because nothing is done and dusted. In fact, it actually weakens this group with all nations on 1 point, because if you're going to get 3 points to qualify, you can't be drawing a lot of games here, guys. Cannot be drawing a lot of games. Before we take a deep dive into this match, I'm going to hand you over to Eddie to talk about the Fanatics storefront for Blackburn Overseas. And Dirk, thanks again. Yes, we are always thinking here at Blackburn Overseas, and this summer is no different. We've got a brand new storefront, courtesy of Fanatics, our new partner. Big shout out to those guys. Link to that storefront is in the description down below. It also, hopefully, fingers crossed, should be on the screen right about now. Of course, we've got merchandise for Blackburn Rovers, official merchandise that is, World Cup as well. We've got all the good stuff. Make sure to check it out. If you're a sports fan, Fanatics is the place to be. Check that sucker out. Of course, every purchase you do helps the channel in some way, somehow, of course. But until then, it's back to Dirk in the studio. Thank you, Eddie. Of course, appreciate that. Of course, check out the Fanatics storefront. But this is the situation, of course, over in Group B as of right now. Canada, of course, picked up the draw against Bosnia and Herzegovina last time around. Come from behind in that game. Qatar also coming from behind to level up against the Swiss to take a point. Everyone's on a point. Everyone's got a goal. Everyone's conceded a goal coming into this. That's right. As after this game for the Swiss, they take on the Canadians to wrap it up here. So they missed what would be considered their easiest game. As for the Bosnians and Herzegovinians, after this match, they'll take on Qatar, of course, for hopefully for them a chance to get through to the round of 32. Of course, what have I done? I've missed the graphics. Here we go. We're going to go through the graphics because I put my effort in there. This is the run in here as you see it. For both nations coming into this. Then let's take a look then at the tail of the tape. Of course, they played each other just the once according to my data, and I'll clarify that in just a second. But a quick look at the valuations of the squad. 332 million for the value of the players of the Swiss squad. 146 million for that of the Bosnians. The Bosnians have got 25 foreigners in their squad. As for the Swiss, they have 24 foreigners. Of course, that one and only victory was a 2-0 win for the Bosnians back in March the 29th, back in 2016. It was a friendly, of course, between these two nations. Quick look at the public opinion. Public opinion was, of course, cast a long, long time ago. This is, of course, for the state of the group. Of course, everyone was backing the Swiss to win it, with the Bosnians in second place, Canada in third, and Qatar in fourth. But guess what, folks? It's even bloody Stevens, that's right. And if you did catch the first rendition of this preview, we did have a sort of blueprint for the Swiss if they did win this group. And right now, they still can win this group, but guess what? They need to win this game because they could land in the round of 32 against Egypt and Iran, and Portugal, Colombia, depending on what goes on in those respective matches. Again, if you're a Bosnian believer like me a little bit, this would be their pathway. It would be a tricky game against the Koreans or the Mexicans, depending on who comes out between those two for winning the group. The Dutch and the Japanese will wait on July the 4th, that's right, and then all the way through. And they could lock horns against the Swiss or the Mexicans in the final, depending on how it all pans out. But the public opinion here and now sees the Swiss are favoured to win this game. 73% back in the Swiss. The Bosnians 14%. The draw is at 13%. The bookies also siding with the Swiss here to win this one. Bosnians, Herzegovinians are the underdogs. What about me though, folks? It all comes down to me, and right now I was optimistic with the Bosnians when they took the lead against the Canadians, but they didn't really show much more than that. They kind of sat back on their lead. They didn't really add to it. As for the Swiss, they were all gung-ho against the Qataris. And they just got caught a little bit flat-footed in the end. So I'm not going to change the blueprint too much. I do think it's going to be a tight old game between the two sides. So I'm going to back a 1-1 scoreline again. So it all comes down to me, folks. It all comes down to me now, of course. The Bosnians with that cheeky draw against the Canadians, which was a solid point in the end. I do think if they can get that mindset again by a must-not-lose, and, of course, come down to that third game against Qatar, they can actually have a chance to win this group. So they're going to be very defensively minded. They held the Kosh against the Canadians at home. If they could do that again against the Swiss and catch them on the break, then who knows? As for the Swiss, again, it's going to be rinse and repeat, really. Just go guns blazing once again, this time up against Bosnia, and try and get a couple of goals this time and not just rely on the one. But all honesty, 2 European contenders here. Again, a lot resting on this one. And again, position right now is all about getting that first win. Who's going to get it? The Bosnians, I think, are going to approach this with a defensive mindset. The Swiss with an attacking mindset. So I'm going to go for a bit of a vanilla one here. I'm going to go with another 1-1 scoreline, which doesn't benefit anybody except for maybe Qatar and Canada in the other game in this respective group. Well, there you have it, folks. There you bloody have it. That, of course, is my prediction. Let me know yours, of course, in the comments. The best and the worst will be featured in the review show when, of course, we come back to talk about this result. Of course, if you want to look at some other predictions made by myself at the channel, we've got the cat prediction. We've also got the ones made by a bunch of ping pong balls. Make sure you check those out as well. Link should be on the screen right about now. But until then, subscribe, smash the like. Catch you later. We're done.